It is crunch time here at Cadet Soccer Stadium at the United States Air Force Academy on a cold, windy day here in October. Is the Air Force Falcons in a must-have type of match this afternoon against the New Mexico Lobos. And welcome in, everybody. Josh Howe alongside Andy Little. And Andy, Air Force having to have short memories after a tough outcome on Friday, a game in which they led second-place San Diego State 3-1. They ended up giving up 3 unanswered and fell in that one 5-4. So now they have to regroup against a very good New Mexico team here this afternoon.
Absolutely. The Falcons played so well offensively on that game on Friday. Had some defensive lapses, and they paid for it. But you're absolutely right. You cannot dwell on the past. This is a huge game this afternoon for both of these teams, and the Falcons have to find a way to get the result today.
Well, it's all about adjustments as you take a look at the conditions outside. As we mentioned, a lot of wind blowing here at Cadet Soccer Stadium, no doubt going to affect the flight of the ball, and no doubt going to affect these players as they try to make adjustments heading into Game 2 in 3 days.
Hey, Coach, just wanted to ask you, you guys played really well on Friday. Coming off of that game, we talked about how important the weekend was to get points at home. What do you guys need to do in the 3 phases of the game today, defensively, in the midfield, and up top to be successful?
Offensively, it was more like an MLS All-Star game or an NBA All-Star game where neither team played defense. So we've got to tighten that piece up. Our team defending shape was too big, so that's got to get smaller. That'll give us the ability to group defend better. The second defender will be closer and be able to help, and then individual defending. You just got to get back to the basics. Break your feet down. Don't dive in.
And, the grind of the season, where we are in conference play, having to play Friday and Sunday, as well as the less than ideal wind conditions and the cold that we're going to get today, how important is the depth of the roster and the versatility on your bench going to play today?
It's big time. I mean, we always go into the bench a little bit deeper on Sunday, and everybody's risen up and accepted that challenge. We'll have a couple new people starting the day and change our formation a little bit to match New Mexico, and we'll just get after it.
Perfect, Coach. Thank you. Good luck.
Thanks.
These two teams meeting for the 27th time all-time. We've got the starting lineups and the opening kickoff when we come back. LA Key Mountain West Conference showdown for the Air Force Falcons here on a windy Sunday afternoon here in October. Josh Howe, Andy Little, and emphasis on windy today because the flight of the ball conditions it as a cold day, but more so than the cool weather, the wind, it is going to play a big time factor for both these teams today.
Well, we've talked about the wind out here before, but we have not seen wind. We've not seen wind like this year. It is tough to move out on the field pregame. It is hard to communicate. The balls are rolling all over the place. The cones are rolling all over the place. Both teams, honestly, are just going to have to do the best they can to manage the situation. Try to find a way to get forward, and once you get forward, just see if you can create a chance for yourself. The wind is just nasty out there this afternoon.
It is a crosswind here today as you look at the starting lineup for the University of New Mexico. The leading goal scorer for the Lobos, Gwen Malley, forward, and 5 goals for Malley. She leads the way. It's been goals by committee for the Lobos here this season.
Well, the Lobos love to get forward with numbers, and you see that in their stats. So many different goals coming from multiple different players. They do a really nice job of transitioning from the midfield to up front, and they put a ton of pressure on the defense. The Falcons are going to have to be on their game defensively this afternoon.
New Mexico 5-2 in Mountain West Conference play. They are second place in the league standings. There is your Air Force Falcons in the home blue-white numbers. Danny Katz gets the starting goal. And Lexi Romero, she added her Mountain West leading 11th goal this season, and that loss to San Diego State on Friday night. 26 points for the young lady out of Livermore, California.
And in this matchup this afternoon, it is 2 teams that mirror each other in their ability to attack. Multiple different attacking players for the Falcons are going to come into play this afternoon. Same with the Lobos. You wonder if the teams will be able to attack with the numbers like they would normally do, but both teams going with 3 in the back this afternoon, changing up the lineup a little bit for the Falcons with an emphasis on getting forward.
So here we go. The Lobos will control the opening kick. And what promises to be a great matchup. Air Force comes in 3-4 Mountain West Conference standings, tied for 6 with Colorado College, who's playing San Diego State today in downtown Colorado Springs. And, of course, New Mexico at 5-2. They're in second place behind Boise State. New Mexico tied with Colorado State. Remember, the top 6 teams advanced to the Mountain West Conference postseason tournament in Boise at the end of the regular season. So this is huge with 4 games to go in the regular season. The Lobos here throwing it around on the back end. New Mexico on the back end, it's Hendren, Hedrick, and Havener. Sophomore, and sophomore, flanked by Carly Mays, another sophomore, and head coach Heather Dyke in her 5th season. What a job she has done here with the Lobos last year. Claimed a share of the Mountain West Conference title. She's done a tremendous job since taking over that program 5 seasons ago.
Well, you know, it's instilling your philosophy. It's having your system and going to that 3-5-2 system like Coach Dyke went to 5 years ago when she came to New Mexico. Really helped change the culture, that forward play, getting forward with your numbers, having that attacking style, and that's what has created this success for this Lobo group.
And for Larry Friend, in his 11th season, just the 2nd head coach all-time at the Academy, and Larry has done a tremendous job. He has built depth. Depth will factor in today in the second match in 3 days as the Lobos here. Side of the 18 now, defending there is Alex Gigging, and taken away there by the junior defender for the Falcons. They'll quickly throw it up ahead. Is working through is Jillian Jamero. Jamero scored yet another goal on Friday night. That was her 6th of the season, 2nd on the Falcons in that department. Top of the 18 now. And cleared out of there for the moment by Emma Nelson. And that ball way off the mark. It is a cross breeze, and more than a breeze, a cross gust, I should say, blowing out of the west. So for New Mexico attacking to the south here in the opening half, that is definitely going to affect the flight of the ball from right to left. And Air Force just the opposite as they head north here in the opening 45 minutes of play.
And you can see the New Mexico bench sitting on the ground, just trying to stay low, avoiding the wind. It is a nasty cross breeze. The game is going to be played with field position. It's about getting forward. It's about getting your numbers forward, not giving up any defensive mistakes, which is very easy to do when the conditions are like this. So that's why positioning is so important.
Sorry, Andy, that's Aaron Spear doing battle there, and a Lobo still down on the ground and slow to get up is number 22, that's Gwen Malley, the leading goal scorer for the Lobos.
And that's a good, you know, that's exactly what you're going to see with this physical play this afternoon. Both of these teams are looking for this result. New Mexico did a great job on Friday night finding a way in an ugly game to get that result versus CC. And knowing that Air Force has to get points at home, they missed out on the opportunity on Friday. They have to get the result this afternoon. Expect physical play.
And no chance. If you get that ball up in the wind, we saw it there, it blew back and then out on the far side. So low ball flight, the only way to go today for both these teams, at least while the winds are gusting, and we expect these conditions throughout this entire match, long run, and there it is. Can't even get to the ball. It blows out on the far side.
Yeah, expect to see a lot of turnovers and some choppy play, and that's not, you know, anything to do with the players on the field. It 100% to do with the conditions. Both of these teams like to get forward, but they're not going to be able to channel that ball through the midfield like they normally like to do. The ball is going to have to be played on the ground. It's going to have to be controlled. You can't just have a big ball forward to your wingers.
Here in the Air Force end, and New Mexico here on the back end will play. It's Carly Mays, the sophomore, and throws it up with the right foot. And Giggy long chase, and that ball checks up just a little bit, and Katz comes out, and look out of position again. We saw that last Friday night against San Diego State, and Katz has been aggressive. She has been good in goal, but certainly takes some risks at times, and that burned them on Friday night against San Diego State, and that time Air Force able to recover.
You know, if Danny comes off of her line like that, I'd rather see her just play a ball directly out of bounds. Don't try to play that ball forward and keep possession. You're coming off of your line and you're helping out your defense. And today you're 3 in the back, and they have a ton of pressure on the 3 in the back. And so I understand coming off of your line and supporting your defense, but just play that ball out of bounds. Just live to see another day.
Here's Nelson. Sends it in. Top of the 18. And quick touch trying to hit Lexi Romero was the freshman Emily Benner. Leads the team at assists now from way out and juggled a bit. Romero is there, but before her is Malia Venisi able to cover it up, the redshirt sophomore. and avoids what could be the opening goal of the game.
Kayla Milford trying to shot from distance. You can see how the ball is manipulated by the wind. Vinici has a tough time controlling that ball. The Falcons need to do a better job of anticipating a rebound there. Understand that it is very difficult for the keepers this afternoon, so every single shot needs to be followed up there. You see an opportunity for the Falcons. If Lexi Romero would chase that ball a little quicker, she might have had an easy tap in for the first goal.
Hendra now into the Air Force end, headed right back to midfield. Here's Benner, quick turn with the right foot, sends it over, gets behind Jamero. Jillian Jamero playing up top this afternoon, and the starting lineup for Larry Friend's team is Air Force and New Mexico. Scoreless here in the 6th minute of play. That's well defended there by Nelson. Benner with the right foot, and Spear will drop it back. And Air Force quickly works it to midfield. Controlled passing, keeping it on the ground right now for the Falcons. You see Catherine Bakken getting the start there for the Falcons, number 10, and they're going to get by Bakken. Giving chase is Spear. And a long run for New Mexico, and that's ricocheted off the foot of Spear and sent right back out of the far side. So throw in here for New Mexico. And the 7th minute of play, still no score.
Aaron Spear doing a good job in her midfield defensive responsibilities, tracking all the way back. Does a nice job not giving up the corner kick, keeping her body squared to the field, and taking that ricochet into the field, not off the end line.
Here's Lexi Romero pressing as defensively New Mexico able to get back. Vinici sends it up on the left side, and the Lobos going to strike one across midfield. Well defended there by Giggy, the junior, and that's just relentless pursuit by the Lobos, and they're going to get Giggy for the foul. And a free kick coming up here for New Mexico as we have just ticked into the 8th minute of play.
Leilani Baker doing a great job for the Lobos, just trying to turn and get forward with speed. We saw that on Friday evening with San Diego State as well. These center midfielders who are, get the ball and go, and it puts a ton of pressure on you defensively. Giggy doing a great job holding the ground, giving up the foul.
Right-footed strike, low ball, and that's wide of the post near side. And again, the wind affecting the flight of the ball, that was as low as you could play it from that far out.
And you almost need to aim at the corner flag and allow the ball to blow back into play. You see it there. A ball directly hit at the goal is just going to blow wide. You don't have enough pace on it to battle the wind. So make sure that you're adjusting for that wind. Play the ball wide, hit a corner flag, and allow that ball to be manipulated and turned back into the field to play.
Faith Lee, great effort on the far side as she picks herself up as Air Force now on the defensive end is New Mexico working with the ball in a scoreless match. The Lobos coming off a 1-0 victory over Colorado College on Friday. That ball ricocheted off of Emily Benner. Benner now with the right foot. Battled for here at midfield. They got their only goal did New Mexico against Colorado College in the second half.
Both teams come out in a 3-5-2, which means that there's just so many players, 10 players in the midfield. And what that's going to do is really, put an emphasis on keeping that possession, because if you just hang on to the ball, another defensive player is going to be there in your face. And so it's very important to be able to support each other in the midfield, play off of each other, and utilize that advantage with numbers that you have in the middle.
Good help defense there by Jaden Edwards, the sophomore midfielder for New Mexico. Working in the midfield now, of course, listed as a forward, but as you said, it is bunched up right now. Both these lineups for head coach Heather Dyke and Larry Friend for Air Force.
Well, the game is going to be played in the midfield today with the conditions. You're not going to get a ton of opportunities inside the 18, and so with the Falcons, starting Emily Benner and starting Catherine Bakken, it's just getting additional midfield support, knowing that that's where the majority of the game is going to be played.
And well done by Casey Stavik there on the far shot side, able to shield off the attacker. Stavik now off the right foot, little 1-2 back and forth, trying to create some space, and Bakken, the turn, goes down to the turf, chip forward, and boy, nothing easy here in the opening minutes of this Mountain West Conference match. 4 games to go, so they have New Mexico this afternoon, do the Air Force Falcons, and then on the road at Utah State, at Boise State, and then at home against Colorado College on Friday night. the 1st of November to wrap up the regular season, so they know just how important this one is. They would love to be 500 going into the final road series of the season, and boy, that says it all on that little chip-up shot there, just blown out of bounds and back into the face of New Mexico.
Well, and it's even the simple traps. You saw Faith Lee there, just had a simple trap, and the ball got away from her before she even was able to hit that missed clearance. And, you know, it's the little things like that. The reason why it's going to be so choppy out there. So make sure your body is behind the ball. Make sure you're technically sound with your passes. There's a good switch of the field, but that only happens if you're technically sound and get your body behind the ball.
And defensively, there's the freshman out of Utah, Kayla Milford, who picked up her first collegiate goal on Friday against San Diego State. Throwing there to Emma Nelson. Back to Milford with the right foot. Sends it up near side, and the wind is not going to blow that one back in. So New Mexico quickly on the restart.
And with this lineup, Kayla Milford showing her versatility. She normally starts as a center back, but now being pushed out wide with Alex Giggy being the lone center back into the game. So it's nice to have that versatility with your roster, to know that a player like Milford can absolutely handle herself well as a center back, but also be able to push outside now in this three-back system.
Andy, back to a point you made earlier in this broadcast. It is a choppy game, not a lot of rhythm. I think we're going to see that all 90 minutes here in regulation. If these wins persist, there's going to be no flow offensively, because it is hard to get a read on the flight of the ball, the flow of this game. It's just not there here in the opening minutes of the first half.
Well, you know, it puts an emphasis on positioning on the field, just trying to stay down here if you're Air Force for a while and be able to find some connections with your teammates and be able to handle that possession. Right now, the Falcons aren't able to get that possession in the offensive half of the pitch, and because of that, they're not able to get any rhythm going forward right now. New Mexico's doing a better job of just hanging on to the ball for a second and trying to find teammates.
Long ball down and a long run. New Mexico's Jill Ogwin. And Katz is going to get their time at a good play to what looked to be out. Now it's going to stay in. Unbelievable. That ball was probably 20 yards out of bounds, and the wind just sweeps it back in play.
Well, and that's what I was talking about with Dana Katz earlier. When you do come off of your line, just knock it directly out. Don't try to play it forward there, especially with the breeze. Just knock it, have a square ball out of bounds, and just live to see another day. Instead, where we've seen mistakes from the defensive third for the Falcons is when that ball tries to get played too vertical, instead of trying to get too forward with that ball, instead of just going straight out.
So, New Mexico with the play-in as we tick out of the 14th minute of play. No score. Lobos and the Falcons. All-time at Cadet Soccer Stadium in New Mexico is 6-5. So this has been a pretty evenly matched up rivalry here the last 11 games or so. And Colorado Springs ricocheted up. Well played there by Danny Katz.
You know, Kat's doing a great job of just reading that ricochet. It's so tough on the keepers this afternoon, like we talked about. The ball is just moving all over the place. It's going to knuckle on you. It puts an emphasis on staying on your line as a goalkeeper, making sure that you're getting a good read on the ball and understanding how that flight's going to look.
And sent up to midfield off the right foot of Alex Giggy. She'll sweep it back to Stavig. Long run. Stavig now pressured there by Leilani Baker.
And I don't mind that ball from Casey Stavik. That's a good switch of the field. The Falcons are able to keep the Lobos pinned back defensively, and that's what I mean by the emphasis on the positioning on the field. It's okay to dump a ball in the corner today.
Quick turn at midfield, swept quickly into the Air Force end. Here's Ogwin. Battle there by Emma Nelson. And Hendren to play it in here for the Lobos. Off the hop. Light touch by Mali. And here is Jillian Jamero over to Bakken. Bakken out at midfield. Has it knocked down. Nowhere to go. Boy, the defense of both these teams has just been suffocating here in the opening 14 and a half minutes.
Well, both sides are doing a good job of closing out the space. The playmakers and the Lobos are very active on the outside, but the playmakers for both of the teams aren't able to get any space. Both teams are doing a great job of just closing down that defensive one-on-one.
Played up, and Stavig there with the right foot. Doubled up, and Air Force Trying to work out of harm's way, and they're going to blow that dead. Is a foul committed by New Mexico.
A good 1-2 combination there with Casey Stavig and Faith Lee on the outside. You can see the high pressure of the Lobos. When you get the ball as an outside back, expect to see one end or two players in your face immediately. They do such a good job of putting pressure on the defense with their ability to chase.
So Giggy on the free kick for Air Force. And that's pretty well done. I'll tell you what. Into the wind, the flat of the ball, but it's going to go out. Last touched by Jillian Jamero.
You know, it's interesting with this 3-5-2 system for the Falcons. Lexi Romero and Jillian Jamero aren't staying as high as we would normally see them. They're sitting back a little bit more.
Top of the 18, look out. The roll right to Danny Katz. But, well, you can see pressing here in the early going. That was Carly Mays that time, trying to break loose up top, and Jaden Edwards, number 26, not 28. And Edwards, we've seen her very active here in the opening minutes of this one for New Mexico. The sophomore, 3 goals, 3 assists for number 26. And now New Mexico gets loose up top. New Mexico, quarter of the 18, low ball sent in, and Katz is right there to cover it up.
Havenord finding some room on the backside behind Faith Lee. It looked like Faith Lee and Emma Nelson trying to switch there, and the Lobos caught the Falcons in the switch. Havenord trying to have that shot from distance, which is going to be very difficult this afternoon.
And Katz will send it out. Shy the midfield stripe. Now Danny, she has made some big-time plays this season for the Falcons. She's 8-5-1, a 1.36 goals against average. Really her first season as a full-time starter, and a big reason why the Falcons certainly are in the hunt for the Mountain West Conference postseason tournament. And this is Faith Lee, the freshman. Lee backs it off with the left foot. And Air Force will cross it over the left side. Long shot out with the left foot. Hits the crossbar. Header in a goal. What a follow. Lexi Romero, her Mountain West leading 12th goal of the season. The Falcons with a 1-goal lead.
Emma Nelson doing a great job here. You see that touch right on her left foot. Hits the ball. Plays it high off the post, and that rebound, that chase we talked about earlier, Lexi Romero doing a good job not giving up on the play, making sure she's tracking the shot, plays the rebound perfectly off the post, head the ball low and wide, and it's a textbook finish for Lexi Romero.
Comes in the 18th minute of play in Air Force with a 1-0 lead. What a start for the Falcons.
You know, we talked about field position and how important field position is, and Faith Lee did a great job starting that. She kept control of the ball. She had a diagonal run. She dribbled right through the defense and laid that ball off to Emma Nelson. But Faith Lee being able to hang on to that ball in possession, doing a nice job of just keeping possession for the Falcons in the offensive third of the field, finding Emma Nelson, who is always a threat to score, always looking for an opportunity to hit a ball. Does a nice job hitting a nice lofted ball over the keeper, Vinici. But Lexi Romero following it up. Goal scorers score goals, and you get to see it again. We've seen it so many different ways.
At midfield now, long run for Emily Benner. Well, we'll see what Air Force learns from Friday night. Every match they have played in this season of Mountain West Conference play, win or lose, has been decided by 1 goal. And the Falcons, no doubt, want to learn from that 3-1 lead they lost on Friday night, a game which could have easily gone the Falcons' way. But this is a resilient Air Force team, tons of talent, and no doubt they want to close this one out here today and move to 500 in Mountain West Conference play.
Well, that's exactly what conference play is. It's just trying to find a way. Coach Dyke and I pregame were talking about how tight the Mountain West Conference is and how you just try to find a goal. And so even though she called her game on Friday just an ugly game back and forth, just trying to find that result. New Mexico's done a good job of that, just trying to find that result, getting that 1-0 result. But you're right. You know Air Force is going to be absolutely in every single game they play. It's just trying to find a way, trying to make that defensive stand when you need to, trying to get that additional goal when that opportunity creates that chance creates the opportunity to find that goal.
So Air Force will push it out with a 1-goal lead. Quickly into the New Mexico end. Romero turns 3 defenders around her. Lexi still pursues. And we're going to have another look at that goal here later on. But I'll tell you what, a thing of beauty. The ball sent in. Romero gets the header for 12th of the season. And here we go, Air Force with the lead.
When I talked about how Romero's not pressing with her teammate Jamero as much as you would normally see, and one of the reasons is you want to condense defensively in the midfield. You don't want to allow the open gaps. There was too much space there Friday evening against San Diego State. So one way to solve that issue defensively for the Falcons is not to press so high, to make sure your players up top, Romero and Jamero, are staying a little tighter and supporting defensively with the midfield.
This is Faith Lee off the outside part of the foot, and this is a new Falcon who just checked in. That's Cameron Karras, number 22 out of the game. Milford now. Romero to Lee. Look at his setup. Strikes it with the right foot. Ball knocked down. Top of the 18. Still loose. Jamero pursues. Backside. Romero was lurking, but over to make the play is Venisi to scoop it up here for the Lobos.
And that's the side of the field that you want to hit that cross. You saw Faith Lee doing a great job of hitting that cross with the wind at her back. It's going to be hard to send that ball in from the other side.
A beautiful header up, and Katz is right there. That ball headed up by Alicia Garcia, the sophomore for New Mexico.
You see Danny Katz there throwing the ball out wide to Milford and can't even get the ball wide to her teammate. You're not going to be able to just throw the ball and have it carry 25 yards today. You're going to have to get creative on how you're getting that quick ball out of there on the ground.
Here's Faith Lee. Strike it up the field. Karras waiting. Drops it off. Here we go. Nelson crosses it over. Corner of the 18. She works with the left foot. And it is stoned there by Venisi. A nice play. But Nelson getting off the quick shot here for the Falcons.
Emma Nelson's always looking for a chance on goal, and you can see splitting the defenders right there, doing a great job having a quick left foot touch there. But Venisi does a nice job of reading it and talked about the importance of staying on your line and being able to read the action in front of you. Venisi does a good job there for the Lobos.
3-1 Air Force advantage in terms of shots against New Mexico. And the Falcons lead it 1-0. If you just joined us, Lexi Romero getting her 12th goal of the season, coming in the 18th minute. That is the difference in this match. New Mexico is outscored their opponents now 20-12 this season. Air Force 29-20. The Falcons, one of the top goal-scoring teams in this conference, behind Boise State, at least going into the weekend. And, of course, that 4-goal performance, no doubt, helping those numbers. And Lee right there to take it away. Faith Lee. Boy, beautiful ball handling there. She'll send it off to the right side. Right up the middle they go, trying to connect with Karras. And New Mexico able to play it here at the midfield stripe as play is stopped for a moment. A bit of a collision there.
It's Emily Benner on that 50-50 ball, and I actually like that play defensively because Faith Lee got pulled so far away there trying to make a run on the outside that she was way out of her defensive alignment. So that foul allows Faith Lee to get back into positioning defensively.
Thrown up with the right foot. This is Romero trying to drop it off for Faith Lee, and boy, that's a beautiful turn by Jaden Edwards. And Edwards now from some space and sends it in. A good ball sent in, and well played by Danny Katz, hugging that post here on the near side.
Well, once again, this is the side to hit a ball here with the wind at your back. Edwards does a nice job trying to pick it there inside that near post. Danny Katz does a nice job of collecting that ball. It is so tough to save a ball with the wind knuckling on you, with the wind blowing right into your eyes, and Danny does a nice job of staying behind.
Here is Jillian Jamero. That ball through the end line, and it's going to be New Mexico ball here. 23.5 minutes gone by, and a 1-0 Air Force lead.
And you can see the communication with the Falcons there. A number of them, it looks like Aaron Spear, Casey Stavik going over and getting the instructions from the coaching staff. We joked before the game with the Falcon coaching staff, you cannot shout out instructions today. The players aren't going to be able to hear you on the field. So, you know, one of those adjustments is to have players jog over and try to get a quick adjustment, a quick word in when you can, because you cannot do it on the fly this afternoon.
Kate Browning checks in for Jill Olgwin for New Mexico here in the 25th minute of play. Turn by Malley, throwing it up, and Air Force well positioned defensively there. Takeaway by Nelson, and they're going to push New Mexico back Emma Nelson, these last 2 matches, she has been so active and a big part of the Falcons' success, no doubt, to this point in the season. But it seems like her role has increased, Andy, especially in terms of touches.
Well, and absolutely. And, talking with the coaching staff pregame, they talked about how offensively minded these wingers are, Faith Lee and Emma Nelson, but their defensive responsibilities is going to be of the utmost importance this afternoon because of the dangerous outside attacking potential for the Lobos. And you saw a good example there. Emma Nelson can get forward and hit a ball. We've seen it all throughout the season, but also her ability to track back, her ability to fend, going to the ground there on that slide tackle and winning that. That's really what makes her such a dynamic player.
Well, Emma Nelson tallied one of the more spectacular goals probably in all Mountain West Conference play on Friday night. Buried one here on the north end from 40 yards out, say, off the post. A thing of beauty. So clearly this lineup up and down the roster for Larry Friend's team, they are talented, perhaps as talented as he's ever had in his 11 years as head coach at the academy.
Yeah, their problem isn't scoring goals. Their problem is just in that defensive third and shoring up that alignment, shoring up their assignments, shoring up that communication, all of it. And so by going to a 3-back system, you can drop the midfielders back a little bit more, help out, support the guys on the back line.
And this ball is sent back, and pursuing is Lexi Romero and sent out of there at the last second by Venesi. You have the feeling that Romero Venesi, we're going to be saying that a lot here this afternoon as New Mexico works it out of the Air Force end, and good help to your point. They run it right to Kayla Milford, the center back, sends it right back to midfield.
Well, and that's the pressure cover system there. You need to be able to pressure the ball and then be able to cover your teammate.
Lobos now, side of the 18, they'll send it in, and nobody home. And that ball is going to stay in play.
I'm really surprised that Havner Cross was able to get all the way through. I didn't think she hit a bad ball. Just, sometimes when you have the gust, it's not consistent. And so there you see that ball driven all the way through the 18 where you thought it would maybe hold up.
With the left foot, and that is just wide of the post, far side. A beautiful strike by Quinn Malley.
Malley here doing a great job. We saw it earlier with Emma Nelson pushing that ball into the center. It allows a greater scoring angle, hitting that nice left-footed ball. There you wonder if the wind played a factor in just pushing that ball wide, but Danny Katz was all over it, reading the ball, ushering it wide of the net, but you see the goal-scoring potential there for the Lobos.
How about the range shown by Danny Katz on that play, laying out and keeping it away from the Air Force net. So, 1-0 Air Force holding on to the lead.
You're just not sure, right? As a keeper back there, you're doing the best you can to try to read it, but you're not sure where it's going to go, so you have to track it. So one of the things that Danny did well on that is make sure she was on it the entire way. She had a good line, and she didn't just give up on the ball. She made sure that ball was going wide.
Oh, this is a great battle here. Faith Lee against Kate Browning. Browning throwing it back to Edwards. And another battle there with Emily Benner. Physical play here the last few minutes between New Mexico and Air Force. Battle of two teams in the top 6 right now in the Mountain West Conference. New Mexico setting second, tied with Colorado State, who, by the way, playing Boise State today. We'll try to get you updated on some scores when those are available, but a lot to shake out here in the top half of the Mountain West Conference standings.
Yeah, everybody's into their match this day and also watching scores. That's how tight this league is, and trying to figure out, what results you need and where you can find that result.
That ball gets away as Osoba, number 9, and working here for Air Force. And that ball, or check that. That is number 19, Emma Nelson. Of course, Osoba has been coming off the bench for Larry Friend here in the 2019 season.
We've seen a number of switches now out of this Falcon group. They haven't substituted quite like I thought they would, but they have switched. Field on the play, we've now seen Faith Lee and Emma Nelson switch sides, Kayla Milford now and Casey Stavik switching sides on the field. So the versatility being shown of both being able to play on the right, left side, sometimes in the middle, sometimes on the outside as well.
That ball hangs, and it's going to get behind Alex Giggy. And offside the call.
Well, and that's that high line New Mexico plays. They try to pressure that back line, force them into a decision, and also pressuring the goalkeeper. You know, Danny Katz had a ton of pressure in her face on Friday evening. San Diego State played a very similar style with their players up front. So the back three and Danny Katz as well are going to have to be on their game, knowing that the Lobos are trying to press high. You see players like Baker sitting really, really high, looking for that deflected ball, looking for that through ball.
Ball need straight up in the air. Long run over for Faith Lee, and New Mexico able to sweep it over here. Quickly into the Air Force in. This is Kate Browning, who just checked in for the Lobos. Browning now loses her footing, and well covered by Emily Benner. Lobos now, the leading goal scorer, that's Malley, throws it up, top of the 18 now. New Mexico drops it off corner of the box. The shot, and it hits iron.
You see Edwards there on a nice overlap with Havenar. Going, forcing Emma Nelson into a tough spot. Emma Nelson trying to close out here, but Edwards hitting a really good ball just wide of the net, but a nice little overlap there for the Lobos. Just another example of how dynamic that inside-outside play can be for New Mexico.
Well, we talked about other matches going on right now in the Mountain West Conference of interest. Boise State in the 36-minute leading Colorado State 1-0. Of course, the Broncos on top with just one loss in Mountain West Conference play. They're 6-1. Colorado State is 5-2, so right now a 1-0 lead for the Broncos against Colorado State.
And, you know, you see that tight conference play. Every team, you know, it's one to get into the conference, but it's two to try to get that seeding and trying to figure out, grab those top seedings if you're Boise State, try to hang on to that number 2 seed if you're Colorado State, knowing teams like New Mexico and teams like San Diego State are right there behind you with such a tight conference.
There's Benner, and this is going to stay in. New Mexico chasing it down in a big collision, and a call there. And a foul on the play is New Mexico trying to break loose, and here it is again.
There, Alex Giggy, just, you know, tardy on that challenge with that pass from Kayla Milford. I understand Kayla Milford's idea right there to try to play the ball back, but into the wind it's so hard. Maybe just play that ball up the line and live to see with whatever happens next. It's going to be hard to drop the ball into the wind. You're going to really have to hit a hard pass to drop it back to your center backs. That mistake there almost costing the Falcons.
That's Jalen Hedren that took the shot for New Mexico, and now free kick. The Lobos will have it. And that looks like Gwen Malley, the leading goal scorer for New Mexico, going to take this kick here for the Lobos. Low ball and wide of the post again. That wind just pushes it away. And like you said, it's like a field goal kicker lining up on a windy day. You've got to account for the flight of the ball in terms of how it's going to be affected by that wind.
Well, I don't mind putting that ball on frame. You're absolutely right. You're going to have to aim to the back post, knowing that it's going to blow in.
So, Danny Katz will set it up here, the junior keeper for Air Force. 32nd minute of play, a 1-0 Air Force lead, thanks to a beautiful finish by Lexi Romero in the 18th minute of play. Her Mountain West leading 12th goal of the season. And now New Mexico on the move again, trying to equalize this score. And a cross still in play. Look out, Browning with the left foot has it ricocheted off. Still in the box, cleared out. And the run over for Emma Nelson. Pressure there by Maddie Hirschman.
It is so hard to get that defensive clearance with this wind, and you see New Mexico attacking with numbers. The Falcons just trying to get in front of the crosses, in front of the shots, and knock it down. But they need to do a better job in that clearance. Find a clearance out wide. Don't allow that second, third, and fourth opportunity to come in for New Mexico.
And look at that ball go the other way. Advantage Lexi Romero on that play. Lexi now holds, drops it back. They'll throw it forward. Quick turn here with the left foot. Karras able to keep her feet. Really bunched up right now, the Falcons, as Jamero throws it forward. Romero in pursuit. Here's Faith Lee. Room to work for the freshman. Lee now tries the right side. And Lee, she turns the corner. That's a long run for number 25.
Well, and there you see it. You know, it's not supposed to happen like this, right? Your missed touch isn't supposed to blow back in your face, or a ball in the air is not supposed to, get manipulated like it has. And so, the players have to adjust to this on the fly. You saw that earlier with Lexi Romero with the defender there for the Lobos. You just pop a pass up and it ends up going 10 yards behind you. And so trying to make that adjustment on the fly is so difficult this afternoon for these players.
There's Danny Katz, and she's not going to be able to get there before it blows out of bounds.
Yeah, and that was the ball sent to the middle of the field. So that was the ball driven to the middle of the field, trying to find players like Edwards moving on to it for New Mexico, but not even able to keep it in the field of play. Be glad we're in the booth.
No doubt about it. I'll tell you what, tip of the cap, our crew up top today in this win doing an amazing job. Sights and sounds incredible here on a huge Mountain West Conference showdown as that ball wide of the post near side.
And we've seen that a number of times now. We keep saying, wide right. And it's just not trying to aim towards the middle of the goal. You're not going to be able to keep that shot and have to aim it towards the back post. You saw that on Emma Nelson's ball off the crossbar. She did a great job of going to the back post, playing it off the bar. And, if she tries to go near post with that ball, or even if she tries to center cut that shot, it's going to blow wide of the net. So go aim towards the back post, allow the ball to get played in, and see what you can get.
And look at this third try. It is a charm. The last two, the wind just blew the ball off its mark. This is unreal. We've seen some windy conditions here in the past, but I think it's fair to say this is probably the most adverse conditions wind-wise that Air Force has seen this season.
You're absolutely right. We've seen moisture, we've seen wind, we've seen some elements for sure out here. But this, just the steady gust that's there, it's so consistent. And it's so tough to try to play through.
This is Karras over to Spear. Spear has Lee on the left side, and that ball will get there. Lee working one-on-one now. Two defenders. Lee sends it in with the right foot, one hop, and played there by Vanessa.
And you can see the switch of the field there. It's a great idea from Erin Spear and the correct ball. She has to hit it so hard to get it to Faith Lee. And, because the defense is sagging, because of the elements, it's easy to fall in love with the big ball going forward like that. You maybe would like to see Faith Lee see if she can take that ball down to the end line, help get numbers forward before she sends it across.
Drop back here by New Mexico. Top of the 18, Lobos. They're able to keep it alive. The run over for Faith Lee, challenging Browning. And that's going to be New Mexico ball here on a free kick. And here's how it happened.
Browning doing a great job of just getting her body in between Lee and the ball. We've seen that a couple of times. Browning going to the ground. A dangerous free kick opportunity now with the wind at their back. The Lobos can put a ball on frame here, can drive a ball in. Dana Katz is going to have to be sure in her defense, knowing there's going to be a ton of traffic moving into her face.
Gwen Malley to take the kick. It'll be Cameron Karras and Lexi Romero here, the two-man wall. No doubt Malley is going to have to account for this wind gust. Left-footed strike going far post and nobody there.
And you wonder there, the wind just pushing the ball, not allowing the ball to bend there. Normally that ball might bend from left to right. There's always a natural curve, but the wind's not allowing that ball to curve. You see it on a direct line the entire time, flies across the end line. But, once again, you have this free kick opportunity. You're down in the offensive third. Get a ball on frame for the Lobos there. The Falcons are fortunate that the Lobos aren't able to put anything in the box to put a ton of pressure on that defense.
And credit their defense so far as Giggy and company working overtime. Milford, great play to sweep it out of the far side and allowing that Air Force defense to set up.
Well, that's the great cover there. Alex Giggy in that 50-50 tough battle there, and having your partner on that defensive line be able to come all the way across the field and clean up any mistakes.
Jamero, it'll go out on the far side as they throw it in past Jillian. And push forward, and that's going to get out. So
It was interesting there with Dana Katz going across the inline. I was wondering if she was going to try to make the save because it's so much easier to punt the ball out of the back. We saw that a second ago with the goal kick, just not able to get anything out of it, out of the back off of the goal kick.
Well, we talked about Air Force. This wraps up a 2-game homestand. They had San Diego State on Friday, New Mexico, of course, here this afternoon. They're at Utah State 5 days from now, and then at Boise State, and then back home against CC. So some big-time matches coming up, and doing everything they can to come out of here with a positive result and stay in the hunt for that top 6 and a postseason berth here in the Mountain West Conference. Spear with the right foot. Here to the New Mexico end. Jamero drops it back. Karras. That ball holds just a bit.
Well, we talked with Coach Friend before the game about the need for the versatility with his lineup, but now you see Keelan Osoba coming into the game more as a winger, an outside midfielder, not her traditional outside back position.
Where Emma Nelson had been occupying some space and time here in the opening half, and there's Karras. Jamero turning. Osoba with the left foot, and that ball thrown up. Headed forward, Romero quickly drops it back to Bakken. They'll try the near side. As Milford plays it up to Nelson. Nelson, big ball out, and that is well played by Venisi, and certainly an area where we saw her connect from just 2 days ago.
Yeah, you know, with the wind at your back, go ahead and have a chance there. It might be a little bit ambitious that far away, but trying to get a ball forward, trying to get a ball in the air, force the keeper to make a decision. Maybe you get one off the post, maybe you get a mishandle and you can have that follow-up. But that's exactly what I talked about earlier that New Mexico hasn't done yet, which is find a ball on frame, force the defense to make a play inside their 6-yard box.
Quick turn by Jamero to Lexi Romero. Going one-on-one to the far side. Romero drops it off to Osoba, trying to knife it into the box. Karras with the left foot sweeps it wide, and that ball almost held up in play.
You're going to have to drive a ball. You see Karras there not getting her body behind it, kind of waving at it with her left foot. You're going to see it here. Just really doesn't have the balance behind her. You got to stay over the ball, and you have to drive it today into these elements.
Headed to midfield. Air Force holding on to this 1-goal lead. That ball's going to be knocked down, swept up forward by the left foot of Alex Giggy.
And that was well read by Alex Giggy. So tough with the ball in the air like that to be able to read that ball all the way through.
Well played by Danny Katz. Here's Spear, and they're going to reset it. Quick start here. Romero. Near side, this is Kayla Milford. Milford, long, striding number 11 there. That's a little bit heavy on the touch. Had Nelson on the left side as Romero dancing with the ball. Nelson knifing it in. Left foot of Jamero. Back to Romero. Flicks it up with the right foot and just over the crossbar. What a sequence.
And there's a great example of the creativity you get with the two up top. Jamero right here. What are you going to do with this ball? How about a little flick and then a quick one-timer for Lexi Romero trying to catch the keeper Venisi off her line. That creativity, that play up top, that's what makes this Falcon group so dynamic.
How fun has this team been to watch here in 2019? All kinds of fireworks for Larry Friend's team. And they nearly had their second goal of the game. Now Romero pressing. She'll come up with the takeaway. Quickly over to Bakken. Bakken right side. Here is Karras. Karras in the open field here for the Falcons. Playing with a 1-goal lead. Goes one-on-one. Gets by the defender. Karras into the box. And it's taken away. That's well played defensively by New Mexico.
That's good team defense there. Karras did a great job. Has the nice little meg through the defender. You're going to see it here. She opens up, just goes right through her. A great job. But there you see Edwards doing a great job tracking back that pressure cover system defensively. But that's another example of the creativity there for the Falcons, that creative play.
Giggy retreating. That ball goes out, and now they're going to say New Mexico ball. So we are down to just about 2 minutes and change to go here in this opening half. Air Force with a 1-goal lead, trying to hold on to the advantage here the final 2 minutes in the opening half. Browning closed in by Spear. Great takeaway, or checked out by Nelson. Emma Nelson, the takeaway, plays it forward. And that's going to go out. So 3/4 length of the field to work with for New Mexico.
That was a good play by Emma Nelson there. Nice job defensively, cutting that ball off and then trying to look at that diagonal play. We talked about how important the field position is going to be this afternoon. So go ahead, play a ball forward, play a ball diagonal, allow your defense to set and be able to shift up into the New Mexico half of the field.
All right, 1 minute, 15 seconds remaining here in the first half. Milford drops it back to Katz. Well, there's nothing routine about the back end for either of these teams here today with the kinds of conditions we have seen.
Yeah, I'd be very cautious with negative balls this afternoon. Dropping that ball back to the center backs, dropping that ball back to your keeper, just because, you're so afraid of making a mistake with the elements and with the pressure of the opponent. It's okay to play a ball high and wide with the elements like this. We've seen it a couple times, even though it's wide open, and I understand the idea of being able to play into that space. It's just so hard in these elements.
Yeah, they'll throw it up at midfield. We are inside 30 seconds to go here in regulation, so perhaps one last chance for the Lobos before this first half ticks to an end.
And now if you're Air Force, just play everything high and wide. Make sure you're back defensively behind the ball. Don't let anything behind you. Just try to get in front and, knock that ball out of bounds.
That's Malley sending it through the end line, and that will do it. Well, 45 minutes in the books, and the Falcons, for the second consecutive game, will head to the locker room with a 1-goal lead. Today, leading the Lobos of New Mexico 1-0 is your score. We'll take a break, and when we come back, highlights and statistics. Air Force of New Mexico here in a good one in Colorado Springs. Back here at Cadet Soccer Stadium, Air Force in a crucial Mountain West Conference showdown, leading second place in New Mexico by a score of 1-0. Josh Howe, Andy Little, and Andy, as we take a look at the numbers, well, big surprise here, no corner kicks, and advantage in both the shots on goal, Air Force.
Well, and it's a game of field position. The Falcons have done a good job of just getting forward in their numbers, creating opportunities for themselves. In a game where the wind is such a factor, it's just about getting numbers forward and creating chances for yourself in the opponent's 18.
Well, the 1 goal scored by Lexi Romero, the assist to Emma Nelson, that coming in the 18th minute. Romero's 12th goal of the season. That is the difference in this match. 45 down, 45 to go. We'll take a break. When we come back, highlights from the first half. You're watching Air Force and New Mexico women's soccer on a Mountain West Network on Stadium. Josh Howe, Andy Little, back inside here at Cadet Soccer Stadium on a cold Sunday afternoon. But right now, inside that Air Force locker room, got to feel good. You got a 1-goal lead against the second place right now.
Well, you find a way to get a result. The Falcons did that in the first half. We're able to get a shot, multiple shots on goal, have one come off the post, do a good job of following it up, and just find a way. The Falcons all year long have done a good job of just grinding it out. We knew this was going to be a tight game with the weather and these two well-matched teams, but finding a way in that first half, the Falcons did an excellent job.
Well, let's go to the highlights from the opening 45 minutes of play as Faith Lee drops it back. Emma Nelson. And here we go.
A great left-footed shot there, banging off the post. But the nice follow-up from Lexi Romero, we talked about it earlier. You need to take advantage of those opportunities on frame, be able to chase with numbers. Lexi Romero, right place, right time, does a great job of finishing that goal.
Romero, her Mountain West leading 12th goal of the season. And the Falcons did a good job getting shots on goal. They had 5 shots on goal in that first half, 7 shots total. They certainly had their chances in tough conditions.
Well, and, it's all about field position, and they did a nice job of just maintaining possession in New Mexico's defensive third and did a nice job of just being able to handle the situation with the weather and with this tough New Mexico team.
We are halfway home here on a Sunday afternoon in Colorado Springs, the second half, when we return. Well, the elements will continue to factor in the second half here for Air Force of New Mexico as we are set to begin half number 2. This Mountain West Conference Women's Soccer Showdown. Josh Howe, Andy Little, and Andy, if you're head coach Larry Friend, in terms of adjustments or continuing to do what you've been doing the first 45 minutes of the game, what do you think the message was to his team at the half?
Well, I think the Falcons have done a nice job in their defensive composure. They did a great job compacting the midfield. We talked about, how dangerous the wingers were for New Mexico, and that up to middle defense is going to be very important because New Mexico likes that inside-out play. They did a nice job, the Falcons did, of just keeping compact in their form. Did a nice job of having 10 players behind the ball, doing a nice job. Because of the elements, you wonder now if the message is a little more, do it the same, but make sure you're safe in the back. And what I mean by that is watch out for your negative balls, make sure you're knocking it high and wide, and just make sure that you're doing a good job of making sure New Mexico doesn't have opportunities inside your 18.
And if you're Heather Dyke, what is the message to try to even this up? They had 6 shots, 2 of those on goal.
Yeah, get a ball on frame. They had a number of free kick opportunities, a number of moments where I thought they could have a real opportunity to create a scary situation for the Falcon defense, but weren't able to have that final connection or that final shot on frame. It's keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a nice job if you're New Mexico getting forward. You just have to create moments and opportunities for yourself inside the 6-yard box and on frame.
So here we go. The Falcons will control the second half kickoff, playing with a 1-goal lead and trying to hold on to the lead and win for the 4th time in Mountain West Conference play, get back to 500 and stay in the race for the Mountain West Conference postseason tournament. These players dancing around trying to stay warm on a frigid October Sunday afternoon. Stavig now with the left foot. And over on the far side, this is Kayla Milford playing out just a little bit wider here this afternoon as Spear plays it up. Karras. And taken away there by the leading goal scorer, Gwen Malee.
You see for the Falcons, Keelan Osoba, normally an outside back, playing that winger in this 3-5-2 system, and along with Brittany Maholwald now entered the game, a traditional outside back, playing a little higher than they normally would.
So free kick here for the Falcons. Alex Giggy will take it. Again, for the Falcons, they're going to have to adjust from this wind blowing from right to left as they attack the goal here on the south end, and the keeper, Malia Venisi. And a long run in here for New Mexico as they'll bunch it up at the top of the 18. Drop it off here near side to Stavig. Stavig strike and headed right back out by Malley.
The Falcons doing a good job coming out right away and playing downhill. That's one thing you want to, when you have a lead, make sure you're not just standing on your heels and making this a defensive 45 minutes. The Falcons are doing a good job in the first 45 seconds or so of this second half of just getting forward, making sure they're still going to be aggressive in that offensive third.
And that will go the Lobos' way. Well, if you just joined us, the lone goal scored by Lexi Romero, the assist from Emma Nelson. She put one off the crossbar in the 18th minute of play, and Romero headed it in for her Mountain West leading 12th goal of the season. That's where we stand here, minutes in to this second half of play. As you look at the standings coming in, Boise State in first at 6-1. They had a 1-0 lead late in the first half against Colorado State, who's tied for second with New Mexico, and a 3-way tied for second with New Mexico and San Diego State, all 5-2. You got Fresno State 4-2-1, and then Air Force and CC, Colorado College, both at 3-4.
And that's one thing that makes this match, this second half, so big for the Falcons. They need to get the home results. Weren't able to do it on Friday evening. Need to be able to hang on to this lead and get those results. The points are crucial right now trying to make that postseason tournament.
Here's Alex Giggy to set up the free kick here for Air Force. Giggy into the box, and that gets over the head of Karras. Still loose, a shot, and how about another goal for the Falcons?
And it's exactly what we talked about, is getting the ball inside of the 18 with the wind, with the elements. You never know what's going to happen. You see the defensive mishap there, no clearance here for the Lobos. The ball finds the feet of Lexi Romero, does a great job just with the quick toe poke. We saw it earlier with her header, doing a nice job of heading it low and wide. There, Lexi just turns quickly, finds the ball at her feet, doesn't overthink it, have that quick toe poke to surprise the keeper and get that early lead or that early second goal in the second half here. A good job of the Falcons just giving yourself an opportunity. Knock the free kick into the box. Try to find opportunities on frame. You never know what's going to happen. And you see the Falcons taking full advantage of that defensive lapse there for the Lobos.
And a record-setting goal for Lexi Romero, her 13th of the season. That is now the all-time single-season scoring record for goals at the Academy. The freshman looking for more.
When there you see the good flick for Jillian Jamero, does a nice job. We talked about that combination play with those two up top, and you see Jamero doing a great job of just having that flick there. But Lexi Romero, her speed, but you know, it's the way that she's scoring these goals. It's not just one way. She's so dynamic as a goal scorer. You see that quick opportunity to not overthink it, have a quick toe poke, surprise Vinici, the keeper. There you saw in the first half with the textbook header, hitting the ball low and wide. She can score in so many different ways.
So that is a huge confidence booster to, of course, Danny Katz, the defensive end, having a 2-goal cushion right now. And Air Force, no doubt, wants to keep their foot on the pedal and come out of here with a W.
Well, we talked about starting fast and making sure that you're still going to be aggressive offensively, and there's a good example on that free kick. The Falcons had plenty of numbers forward there, and the Lobos not able to get that clearance. But because you had so many numbers forward, the New Mexico had to honor that. They had to get back in their team defense, and it allowed players like Lexi Romero to just find a little space, and fortunate to get the ball at her feet, but a nice job of putting the ball away.
Whether it's basketball, I don't care what sport you're talking about, soccer, great goal scorers, great scorers just have a knack for finding to get the way to get the ball in the back of the net. And Romero, always right place, right time. We saw her on the header early in that first half, and here showing the touch, being able to score for the second time here this afternoon.
The ability to score, it's not easy. It's not a given. And so to have a true goal scorer on your roster, somebody who has the knack for putting the ball into the side net, has the knack for finding a way around the keeper, has been so fortunate for the Falcon group this year.
And that ball to Vinici and sent back out of the far side. As Air Force working with this 2-goal lead. The Falcons, every match they've been in this season of the Mountain West Conference, it's ended in a 1-goal margin. And they would love to have a little cushion here this afternoon in a must-have type of match with, well, 3 games to go after this one here this afternoon.
Well, we've talked about on multiple broadcasts, you know, the first five starting the game, the first 5 coming out of the half, and in the first 5 minutes now to get that goal. It's so important for this Falcon group. It's important for their energy, that effort, that mojo that you get to carry with that 2-goal lead.
Played here by New Mexico. And Brittany Mahowald now into the match for the first time here in the second half. And, you know, Larry Friend talked about it in the pregame. They've got a lot of depth on this team, and certainly his team exerted a ton of energy on that Friday night match, the tough loss to San Diego State. But some of those players like Mahowald, who started against San Diego State, now she's able to come in and give quality minutes here in half number 2 to try to close this thing out.
Well, given quality minutes in a different position, that versatile play is so important for this group, and it's, you know, Brittany's a good example of being able to play a little bit higher than she traditionally would.
So, New Mexico now sends it in, and that ball doesn't even reach the net.
You know, on that cross into the wind, you have to make sure you get your body behind it. You have to be able to drive that ball. You can't just wave at it and knock it. You're not going to be able to hit a floating ball into the 18. If you're on that far side of the pitch and you're trying to hit a ball into the box, you are going to have to hit a ball. You're really going to have to, you know, hit a nice textbook ball in order to drive it through this wind.
So, Katz off the right foot. There's Kayla Milford closing in. Browning heads it up for New Mexico. And that's Milford charging forward for Air Force. Giggy sweeps it forward with the left foot for the Falcons. Drop back Browning. Slow roll right to Danny Katz.
You know, and Cats, with this 2-goal lead, even though we're early into the second half, it's okay to play the ball to your feet. It's okay to knock it down, push it forward. Force New Mexico to take chances now. Force New Mexico to get spread out, have to pressure you. That's one way to find space into the midfield. And when you do play a negative ball back to your keeper, the keeper, if you can hold on to it for a half second, it just helps you spread out the midfield a little bit because there's so many players in the middle of the field right now.
Now the Lobos will drop it off. That's Jaden Edwards. Or check that. Number 33 moves in. It's the cross. And a nice diving effort there by Danny Katz. And number 33 in for the first time here this afternoon. That's Allison Aaron, the freshman out of San Diego.
Aaron doing a great job getting around the defense and sending that ball into the box. But you see Casey Stavik right there to help cover her keeper, allow Danny Katz to get to the ground and make that save.
Oh, stays a 2-0 Air Force lead. Trying to close this thing out. And a tumble on the far side. That'll stay New Mexico ball.
And here you see the referee talking to players. This 50-50 ball. Kayla Milford going in tough. It looks like Baker up top for the Lobos there. Baker and Milford having that 50-50 battle, and that's the physical play that you want to see. Nothing's going to be easy. The outside, defending the outside is so important there. For this free kick, the Falcons have to get this early clearance, get to the ball in the air, clear this ball high and wide.
And an update, it remains a 1-0 Boise State lead against Colorado State here in the 58th minute of play. And back here at Cadet Soccer Stadium in Colorado Springs, Falcons holding on to a 2-0 lead as the free kick approach by Allison Aaron, freshman out of San Diego, taking it here for the Lobos. And she's going right into the teeth of the wind. Look at the ball blow back. She's going to have to reset it. Well, we saw that affect Danny Katz on a couple of goal kicks here earlier in the first half.
Yeah, it's going to be so hard to drive this ball. Just do everything you can to get behind it. You know the ball's going to sail a little bit. A great driven ball.
And sent right back out. It'll stay New Mexico ball.
And that's a great job there on that ball. I talked about, how tough it is. And Aren did a great job there driving that ball into the box. But the Falcons did exactly what I said they needed to do. Get that early clearance, get that first touch, knock it high and wide.
Aaron now with the right foot. And that ball still loose in front of the goal box. Sent up and sent out.
And you can see that second and third ball, you have to be sure in your clearance. This is exactly how Air Force scored that second goal there. The Falcons have to be sure on that clearance, get to the ball quick, knock that out of there. Any little deflection because of the wind is just going to wreak havoc inside the box.
As New Mexico throws it in, Aaron working one-on-one against Mahowald. And as that ball goes out, another update. Of course, we talked about the significance of that Boise State, Colorado State game. 1-0 Boise State in the second half. Down at Colorado College, the CC Tigers, they're 3-4 going into the match with San Diego State. The Aztecs with the lead 2-1 in the first half, 22nd minute in that one. So we'll keep you updated, and certainly Air Force keeping an eye. They would love to be able to have a little bit of cushion going into the final 3 matches of the season.
We had talked about it with both coaching staffs before the game, and you play the game in front of you and you manage that moment in front of you. But absolutely all the staffs are watching the games of everybody in the league, and they're looking at scores and they're talking about positioning and where everybody's falling with the with their standings right now. And it's fun to talk to both the New Mexico staff and the Air Force staff as well about the importance of managing that result in front of you, but also trying to see what everybody else is doing too, and who's playing well, where are they playing, what are the elements, what's going on. And so it's very much a fun time of year here in conference play.
You've just been given an update, a jersey change for New Mexico. Jaden Edwards was wearing 26 in the first half. She has changed to 33, so that is not Allison Aaron. That is Jaden Edwards wearing 33 here in the second half, so apologies on that one. But Edwards with number 33 as Air Force looks to extend the lead, and New Mexico getting back on defense is Jalen Hedren, the sophomore, able to sweep it up.
When you can see Air Force trying to get forward, they need to make sure that they're still supporting in the midfield with that back three in the back there. You see Emily Benner doing a great job of tracking back, Aaron Spear tracking back. Make sure you get numbers back for that quick counterattack. You know New Mexico is trying to get out in transition, trying to hit that vertical game and use their athleticism on the outside. So Air Force, as much as you want to get forward, making sure that you are getting back in your defensive responsibilities.
So free kick here for the Falcons, playing with a 2-goal lead. They get a goal from Lexi Romero in the 18th minute and then the 49th minute. And that is the difference here as they go to strike it. That wind blowing from right to left, headed back, still alive in the box. Quick turn there by Jamero. She's double teamed. And now New Mexico able to work their way out of harm's way and have possession here in the 58th minute of play.
A better job for New Mexico on that clearance. Alex Giggy sending a good ball into the box. You want that scramble into the wind, that hectic situation, that hectic defending. New Mexico doing a better job handling that there. But you see Emily Benner doing a nice job of being physical in that defensive midfield position.
Jamero, well played with the right foot. And here comes Osoba on the near side. Keelan now. Midfield, swept forward by Karras, just missing Lexi Romero.
Yeah, trying to find that combination play there. Keelan Osoba sending a ball inside to Karras, and Karras trying to have that quick flick to find Lexi Romero, looking for some space between the center backs.
Sent in by Stavik. One hop, and on the short hop, picked up by Vanisi.
Vanisi has the opportunity to just roll it out to the center backs there on that save because the Falcons are doing a good job not pressing, not getting overextended in the midfield. You see Jamero and Romero just making sure they're tracking back and allowing that midfield to be a little tighter, forcing that midfield rather to be a little bit tighter in their defense.
So far side, that is Jaden Edwards wearing 33 now here in the second half, playing it for New Mexico. And Maholwald well positioned defensively, and boy, what a luxury for Larry Friend to be able to bring a player the talent level of Brittany Maholwald in reserve in the second half.
Well, you know, somebody who's gotten a ton of minutes, can play outside back, can play a little higher as a winger. It's a nice job. You see Emma Nelson coming back in. It is so tough to go to full 90, you know, in the elements, that to be able to allow Emma Nelson to have a little extended halftime, to be able to have, you know, players like Faith Lee who are just having to do so much running on the outside, to give them a little extended time. It's a testament to, you know, having that roster and the depth within that roster and the versatility to be able to move players around and allow you to keep the same system, right? Allow you to keep that same flow to the game.
So the Air Force Falcons holding on to this 2-goal lead. Keep in mind, they led by 2 on Friday, but this is a different feel. This has been much more of a defensive-oriented game. But as we know with New Mexico, they've had opportunities. They can strike in a hurry. And 2 goals certainly not out of reach for this Lobo team.
I talked with every single member of the coaching staff for the Falcons, and they all talked about the defensive lapses on Friday evening. And that emphasis on the off day and watching film and talking about shoring up the defensive moments where you get that clearance, where you work on your positioning, you find a way to not give up that goal. And that was truly emphasized yesterday on the off day. With this group, and you can see it. They look much better defensively. They're doing a great job working together in the midfield. They got overextended on Friday evening. That doesn't appear like it's going to happen today.
And a battle there with Edwards, and it looked like Karras, or check that. That's Emma Nelson battling there for Air Force near the midfield spot, and out of Mexico. Not able to keep it in play. And boy, Air Force has possessed this ball for the majority of the second half to this point in the New Mexico end.
Well, you asked me coming out of half how this would look, and I was wondering if they would sit back too tight, but they have not. They've done a great job of keeping that formation. They did such good work defensively in the first half, just keeping everything in front of them and working together as a collective 10, both defensively behind the ball, but also getting forward, making sure you're smart in the way that you're getting forward. You're utilizing the midfield, you're playing the ball to the outside, and able to get numbers forward, which has been a big difference this afternoon.
So Lexi Romero, who just set the single season scoring record for goals at Air Force, works it forward. Osoba has it taken away from behind, and the long run there by Alicia Garcia to play it for New Mexico. Well, we talked about that 13th goal being #1 all-time at a single season for Air Force, but how about right now as it stands in the NCAA ranks? She is 3rd overall for goal score. That is impressive. A freshman out of California, and that ball swept away, still holding up, and finally Danny Katz able to get there, but those are dangerous balls in the box, Andy.
Well, absolutely, and you can see it here. Baker doing a great job on the outside, giving the defense for the Falcons everything that you can handle. One thing I'd liked for the Falcons there is the number of blue jerseys getting back, tracking back behind the ball there. You want, especially with the conditions, make sure that you have numbers back in case you get a deflection, in case you get a, whatever pace is coming on that cross, you're there guarding that space and making sure that you are not going to give up anything cheap.
So it looks like it's going to be Air Force ball. A substitution is off the pitch. Goes Cameron Karras, and in for the first time is Bella Colandrea. And boy, you talk about no drop-off whatsoever. Karras giving him great minutes, and here comes Colandrea, and we know how special number 17 has been this season for the Falcons.
Well, Colandrea can play all over the field, and we've seen her up top in that number 9 point forward. We've seen her drop back as a center back when needed as a 5th center back. So just her ability to be so versatile on the field is so important for this group. And, the fact that you can come once again off the bench with a player, the talent of Colandrea is such a blessing for Larry Friend.
And New Mexico an opportunity as they are not able to work it past Alex Giggy, and they play on. Giggy with a great takeaway there on the defensive end here for the Falcons.
Just great one-on-one defending, putting yourself in front of the ball, doing a great job squaring up on that tackle.
Gets away from Giggy, and there is Danny Katz. 64th minute, still a 2-goal Air Force lead. Trying to hold on and win for the 4th time in Mountain West Conference play. And right by the foot of Malley. Battling Spear. This is going to be New Mexico ball.
Well, you can see that touch getting away from Spear there. The wind is so tough. You saw it with the punt from Danny Katz. The ball's just not going anywhere, and then that first touch is so important. If you have a little miss hit on that first touch, the ball will just track away from you.
Tell you, Jaden Edwards, what an impressive player. Another shot in. Edwards, the sophomore out of Washington, a fine performance here as New Mexico on the short end of a 2-0 score. Just about 64.5 minutes gone by. Well, we talked about, hey, the top 6 teams getting into the postseason tournament. Andy, I think this year more than any year, if you get in, you have a chance to win it all.
No, absolutely. Both, all of these teams are so close together, and that's a testament to how strong the Mountain West has gotten and the depth of the teams and the talent of the players. It's evident week in and week out, and you're right. You get in and then find a way.
There's Colandrea, defended there by Curtin. Curtin had the lone goal of the match against Colorado College on Friday afternoon. That came in the second half.
When you see so many close matches around the conference, it speaks to the depth, and there are going to be teams that don't qualify for the Mountain West Conference play that probably could have a shot at winning it. That's how dangerous every team is in the conference, and because of that, you see the tough matches, you see the close scores where it's just trying to find a way to get a result.
And the miscue there is Colandrea sweeps it out on the far side. New Mexico ball. And the Lobos have it with just under 25 minutes to go in regulation. That's Paris McKenzie. number 6 back in for the Lobos. And New Mexico now trying to turn the corner. And boy, what a job defending there. Nothing doing inside for New Mexico. That's all Air Force.
Well, that's that pressure cover system there. You see Casey Stavik on the ball, and then you have the center back, Alex Gigi, coming over to support. And so you just make it hard. You make it tough with your numbers in the back. You communicate well, and you work well together. And that's a good example of just making it difficult. It's going to be hard to get around the corner. It's going to be hard to send in that cross against the Falcon group the way they're playing right now.
Clock stops as Katz tries to set it up, and they need a tee out there today.
Well, unfortunately, as a keeper, the ball will usually settle in a divot or a hole, and that makes it even harder to get a ball out of there. So not only are you trying to get a ball through the wind, you're also trying to hit it out of a divot.
Here's Keelan Osilva. Plays it up. Faith Lee. Jamero rather closing in here for the Falcons. And a hard charging Malia Valesi able to send it back to midfield for New Mexico.
Vinici doing a good job getting that ball quickly. Jamero was really putting on the pressure there. Vinici with a nice job of getting that ball out.
Jaden Edwards blocked there by the Falcon defense, and now New Mexico will throw it in. This Lobo team really bunched up here on this possession, trying the far side.
Well, we talked about how dangerous, Edwards has been on the outside for New Mexico. And I think, for New Mexico, they've fallen in love with this right side so much. They need to diversify their point of attack, switch the field a little more. Maybe you can come in from the left. Ideally, honestly, you want to come in from the left side because the wind would be at your back. New Mexico's really right side heavy right now, which is good for the Falcons because they know what side to expect. They know what side to defend.
Katz. That ball headed straight up and blowing back out of the wind. Colandrea pursues defensively, and now the Lobos able to play it forward to the Air Force end. That's a long run by Browning. Browning, the cross, headed up. Good effort by Jaden Edwards, but it's wide of the post near side.
You're right. Good effort by Jaden Edwards. It's probably even better defensive positioning by Alex Gigi. Edwards cannot get a good angle on frame because Gigi's doing a great job being goal side there. Edwards trying to get that flick onto the back post. It's so hard to do when you have a defender right on your back. Alex Gigi doing a good job tracking back on with the defense.
That ball hanging high in the air. Nelson, last to touch it. Air Force and New Mexico Stalker on the Mountain West Network on Stadium here on a cold, blustery Sunday afternoon in October. This has been some kind of a matchup, and a lot of time to go here for New Mexico to try to get back into this match. Air Force would love to extend the lead to 3. They have certainly given themselves, Andy, some nice opportunities here in the second half of play.
Well, there's a reason why they say the most dangerous lead is a 2-goal lead, because it just takes one. You saw that on Friday evening with the Falcons, with Jamero getting that late goal, making it 5-4, and all of a sudden there was a scramble in the last 4 minutes. If New Mexico is able to find a way and get that goal, expect that same kind of scramble. And so for Air Force, keep your composure, keep your defensive intensity up, see if you can find an opportunity to get out, because New Mexico is going to have to stretch themselves now. They're going to have to take some chances in the final 20 minutes to, and as they extend themselves, maybe you can find some room and some space available, get that crucial 3rd goal.
And that's going to be Air Force ball. It's hard to believe. You look at all the numbers, the statistics put up here to this point, not one corner kick for either team.
Well, and I think both teams defend so well. They're smart in their defending. They're not allowing that simple deflection to be knocked off the end line.
That's Nelson, the turn. Here we go. Look like some space. They blow it dead. Air Force ball, and slow to get to her feet there on the far side is Emma Nelson, and she's going to try to walk that one off.
Well, I was wondering if the referee was going to give advantage there. Emma Nelson getting that clearance to Emily Benner. Benner with a nice job on the turn. The referee had already blown his whistle. Wondering if maybe the better call was to allow that advantage so the Falcons could get out and run.
And it goes out of the far side.
When there you see Alex Gigi trying to hit a ball down the left-hand side. It's just not going to be there. You're going to have to aim that ball to the middle of the field and allow the ball to blow back into the left-hand side if you want that play.
Well, what a performance so far. It's been the Lexi Romero show. 2 goals, and the second to set the all-time school record single-season goal scored at 13. That's remarkable what this young lady out of Livermore, California has been able to do here in season number 1. A program-changing type of player in Lexi Romero.
Oh, absolutely. We were impressed early on just with her speed. It was evident all over the field. But, you know, as the season has gone on, it's her technical ability to score goals. It's you know, she has the capability of scoring from multiple different directions, multiple different ways, makes her so tough as a goal scorer. And you talked about it, regardless of the sport. You know, it's you see it in basketball, you see it in hockey, you see it in soccer, just the ability to score a goal, the ability to be dynamic in the box. She does a good job of finding space. She does a good job of creating space for herself, whether it's a diagonal run or a subtle movement. But then having the touch and the ability to just bury a shot, it is not easy to do. And she does a great job. It just always seems to find the back of the net.
We are inside of 19 minutes to go in regulation. Air Force trying to close out the Lobos here and win for the 4th time in Mountain West Conference play. A lot of work to do, though. The Falcons, though, they have been sharp on both ends of the field. They've been fundamentally sound on defense, and so far adding up to a 2-0 lead here late in the second half.
Well, the Falcons in the last 18 minutes, you know, of this match, you can see Bella Colandrea now sitting a little bit deeper than maybe she normally would earlier on in the game. Just making sure you're still going with the 3-back system, but just making sure that you keep that holding center back a little bit deeper just in case that you need that extra defender in the back.
And trouble there. That one's going to get through the end line. And how about this? Corner kick for the first time today.
Well, and that's, you know, it's defensive clearances are tough. They're tough in the elements, tough with the wind, and there you see the deflection. By pressing a ball forward, knocking a ball forward, you get that deflection, and then getting that deflection, you allow an opportunity. Now, the Falcons normally would be throwing numbers forward like crazy right now. I think they're a little bit more conservative because of where we are in the game, making sure that Faith Lee and Casey Stavik, Jillian Jamero are sitting a little bit tighter so they can get back if needed defensively.
And with this wind, it is tough to get the ball on frame. And here's Alex Gigi to attempt. You've got Romero to the right side. Gigi will send it. That's a good ball. And high up in the air to play it is Molia Venisi, but a great ball put in by Alex Gigi.
A nice driven ball into the wind, and Venisi does a great job coming off of her line, getting the ball at the highest point. You see it there at the highest point. I think that's the important part of that save, not allowing that ball to get down to where some of the Falcon players could be able to get some kind of flick on into the frame, go up and get the ball at the highest point. Venisi right there with the textbook save.
Colandrea plays it back to midfield for the Falcons. Turned there by Benner and tangled up. Physical play there with Paris McKenzie. It'll be New Mexico ball here on a free kick, and another look.
Emily Benner always into the mix, and you see it. They're not afraid to go to the ground. The first time, the second time getting to the ground. Just unfortunate not to get any of the ball there.
Lobos send it wide. Browning working on Faith Lee. Lee the win on that one, and Browning, great recovery to get back in the play.
And I like what Casey Stavik did there in that scramble. Just knock the ball out of bounds, reset defensively. You don't want to give up some kind of deflection. You don't want to give up something soft inside the 18. So make sure you're forcing New Mexico to earn it.
So New Mexico still battling, and Faith Lee's right there. Wise play, sends it out, and they'll throw it in again. Time ticking away here. 75th minute, Air Force still up by 2. Approaching that 15-minute mark remaining here in regulation. Lobos slip it into the box. Look out, that's a nice cross. And good hustle play on the backside by Emma Nelson to clear it out.
And that's, you know, the importance of that defensive positioning there. Emma Nelson has that responsibility on the back post. You see her take a good line and have that cover to get that clearance.
Now the throw-in from McKenna Habner. Turning, look out, and that is bent just wide of the post near side. Gwen Malley the leading goal scorer for New Mexico. A great shot there for the Lobos.
And you see what Mally's trying to get the ball to her left. Colandrea trying to close out the space. Mally not able to get her body behind it, but trying to curve that back with the wind to find the top corner.
Like we said, Air Force not out of the woods yet. This Lobo team can strike in a hurry. And a 2-goal lead, as we saw on Friday, well, that is certainly not a safe lead.
Well, you know, and what you don't want to do in the final 15 minutes is start getting so far back defensively that you're allowing New Mexico to just keep coming after you wave after wave. Make sure that you're still sound, obviously, in your defensive positioning, but play the ball to each other, find feet, knock it around, make this a keep-away game. You know, so many times you see players just try to crush the ball out of the back, and you just have the first, second, and third wave of attack coming at you. Make this a keep-away game, find each other's feet, and just ping the ball around a little bit if you're the Falcons.
Up gets by Lexi Romero. That ball hangs at midfield behind Milford. Milford, look at the speed out of the freshman, able to close in and shield off McKenna Habner.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about. I love that Colandrea didn't just blast that ball out, but tried to find Emma Nelson's feet to try to build something out of the back. It's okay to build something out of the back. Now, if it's a 50-50 situation and you got to just crush your ball wide, then do it. But if you have a little bit of time, a little bit of space, it's okay to find teammates' feet and build up out of the defensive third.
And a tumble there by Emma Nelson, or check that, Casey Stavig, and she's slow to get up. We'll restart it here. 77th minute. Air Force holding on to this 2-goal lead. It takes a while to get back to Cats. Got to come up to meet the ball.
It just stopped. That's what I'm talking about, the dangers of a negative ball there. You hit a negative ball back to your keeper, and you can't even get it all the way back there because of the wind.
Played up. Out of the Air Force in, and Giggy, well played, able to deflect it off of Jaden Edwards. Air Force has it here. We are closing in on that 10-minute mark here shortly. Remaining in this regulation is offside the call on Lexi Romero.
Lexi's trying to stay high there on that kick. And just a step offside. She's trying to read it, stay high with the center backs. Told you that New Mexico would start to extend themselves, and I think you've seen it now, really putting the three-back system to work, because the midfielders now are pressing high for New Mexico as they try to get forward with numbers.
Well, other scores, as we talked about, Fresno State positioned just ahead of Air Force and closing in. And how about Colandrea able to shut it down, and that is going to be offside the call. So Fresno State leading by a goal. They're up 1-0. Boise State still with the lead over Colorado State in the 84th minute of play. And San Diego State out on top of Colorado College. That one at the half, 2-1, Aztecs over the Tigers.
And, you know, we knew San Diego State could score goals. Obviously, we saw it on Friday. They saw it coming into this weekend. And once again, San Diego State scoring goals, such a tough team. I think the Falcons proved a lot to themselves that they could go stride for stride with somebody like the Aztecs. Such a powerful team in this conference.
And as you said, really a teaching moment. You never obviously want to suffer a loss like that when you score 4 goals. That's a game that you say, hey, we should be able to win it. But Larry Friend and company, they use that in their off day as a teaching moment. And so far, through 78 minutes and change, this team has shown signs of adjustments. Defensively, they have been much, much stronger here today against a very good New Mexico team.
Well, I talked about that with
Here we go. Wide side. This is Nelson. Nelson, low ball in. How about 3 goals for the Falcons here in the 80th minute of play.
And we talked about how New Mexico was going to have to stretch themselves to try to find that first goal, and you see it there on the transition. A nice little play here. I like this play from Jillian Jamero. A nice little touchback to Lexi Romero, who does a great job of having her head up. Emma Nelson does a nice job there, forcing the keeper, Venici, to come off of her line. Does a great job of just slotting that ball into the back of the net, and a great goal, and a much-needed goal here for the Falcons to keep that momentum. They've done such a good job this second half of controlling that, and a great job, Lexi Romero, finding Emma Nelson for this 3rd goal.
So the Falcons put up 3, and they have the shutout intact.
You know, and that's that creativity that Jillian Jamero does a great job, and she doesn't always see enough credit for her ability just to have that subtle pass or that subtle flick to get through that double team and find her teammate Romero, who Lexi just makes plays. Does a great job having her head up and finding Emma Nelson wide open on the backside. And Emma Nelson's wide open on the backside because New Mexico had to get forward with their numbers to try to get a goal.
And for Emma Nelson, coming up with a huge goal here late. Boy, 3 goals feels a lot better than 2 if you're Larry Friend here. The final 10 minutes here coming up as Emma Nelson scores her 5th goal of the season.
Well, and to complete that thought that we had just a second ago with talking to assistant coach Kia Sutta, she had talked about how, yes, the Falcons came up on the wrong end of that match on Friday, but they played well. And having that emphasis on, you know, we did play well. We did some things well. And, you know, it's easy to get hung up on giving up 5 goals. It's easy to get hung up on the defensive lapses. But it's very important to remember how strong this Falcon group is and their ability to score, their ability to defend when they're right. And, you know, that's something that, you know, Coach Sutta and I talked about pregame, is having that emphasis on having those teachable moments.
Well, Lexi Romero trying to break loose, and she took a shot in the face in the box, and I don't know if she's bleeding or not. They're going to, you would think, eventually stop play here. That continues now as Romero still down in the box, and now they're going to stop it, and she took a hard shot, and we'll see if we can get another look.
Well, you know, you see some blood coming out from Lexi there. It's, you know, we talked about her spacing, her ability to make that backside run. And Lexi Romero, you know, does a great job in her diagonal runs and just getting shielded off by the defender here. You see her wanting to make that backside run, not able to have that space. You see number 2 defending there for New Mexico, Hendren, and Lexi going to the ground there. You know, hope she's going to be okay, but looks like there's some blood there on the field.
So it looks like she took an elbow in the face. Jalen Hendren playing Romero up top. And boy, what an effort. I tell you, Lexi Romero, 2 goals and an assist today. And her team up 3-0. And while we have a break in the action here, we're going to step aside. Air Force leading New Mexico 3-0 here in Colorado Springs. Josh Howe, Andy Little back here, Cadet Soccer Stadium. Good to see Lexi Romero walking off under her own power, and certainly took a shot, but the good news is didn't look like a knee or ankle, anything severe. It was a shot in the face, and she is going to be able to make her way to the sideline. So substitution here, final 10 minutes, but boy, what contribution out of number 6 here today. She gets the brace, picks up another assist, in Air Force with the 3-0 lead, and here we go, a free kick at the top of the circle.
Well, I saw the referees talking. I wonder if they're going to award that foul there on that play after, you know, during that break with the referees talking. It looks like they're going to actually give that foul. We talked about Lexi's ability to just find space, always looking for that diagonal run. So the referees awarding that foul there on that tough play.
Nelson over the top of the ball, low ball, hits the wall, and sent back right back in by Giggy. On the back end, it's Milford. She'll play it up over the head of Jamero. Behind her is Bezdek. Bree now drops it off to Jamero. Back tap and down to the box. Do we get a call? No. Still alive and scrambling to her left is Vanisi. No call on that play.
And there you see Bezdek just trying to get a touch here in this scramble in the box. We talked about throwing balls into the box and forcing that scramble. You see that 1-2 play there, Bezdek trying to get on the end. And I thought maybe right here on this toe poke she could get a little bit on it. Vanisi doing a great job of covering that ball to her right.
Emma Nelson, who scored the goal in the 80th minute of play to put Air Force up 3-0. Working there, Nelson. Spear, Nelson here on the near side. Emma's got room to work now. Approaches a corner of the 18, throws it in. Top of the 18 and a one-hop header played by Venesi, but what execution by Air Force, getting more and more pressure on that Lobo keeper.
So it starts with that inside play. Aaron Spear right here just grinding, finding a way to keep possession here, having this subtle touch, doing a nice job knocking that ball wide. You see Emma Nelson head up the whole time. She sees Faith Lee on the back post, who does a nice job heading that ball low. You want to head the ball low and wide. Venesi doing a good job covering that far post.
So Air Force now the free kick, trying to close it out. Less than 8 minutes to go in regulation. They're trying to get to 500 in Mountain West Conference play and hold on to sole possession of 6th place here in the conference standings. And coming out to make the play is Venesi. We say sole possession because they are tied with Colorado College coming into this one for 6th at 3-4. Right now, CC is on the short end, or at least last check, of a 2-1 score against San Diego State, that at the half. And you can hear the fans here at Cadet Soccer Stadium not pleased with that play. A yellow card comes out. Here it is.
And you see Curtin here getting the yellow card, pulling, it looks like Gutierrez, who has entered this game in the midfield. Curtin there getting the yellow card. Gutierrez does a good job just keeping that good defensive positioning we've been talking about all afternoon, putting herself in between the ball and the player. But it looked like a foul was called before that, and then after the play, the card awarded to Curtin.
Well, clearly frustration out of New Mexico today is Air Force, let's face it, they have flat out outplayed the Lobos here for 82 minutes and 57 seconds.
Well, and talking with the Air Force staff, they talked about coming back with that Sunday energy. You know, such a good job of finding Friday energy, but that having just 2 days, with back-to-back games is trying to find that Sunday energy, and I think the Falcons have done exactly that this afternoon. They've been able to be the aggressive team. They've been able to come out and win the 50-50 balls and create the chances for themselves.
And this just in, a final, Boise State knocks off Colorado State 1-0. So Colorado State loses for the 3rd time in Mountain West play. They're 5-3. So if Air Force can hold on, they're only 1 game back of Colorado State. Now, Colorado State would win the tiebreaker. They did defeat the Falcons, did the Rams earlier this season, but it shows you with 3 games to go after this one, Air Force controls its own destiny.
Well, for sure. And we, how important this road trip coming up for the Falcons are to try to get points on the road. It's so hard to get points on the road. I talked about it with Coach Heather Dyke of New Mexico, how important that Friday night victory was, just trying to find some points on the road as an away team. And we've seen that from the Falcons, whether it's, going to Fresno and being able to find that 1-0 victory. Just getting points on the road is so difficult in this league. And this is going to come down to a wire. These final 6 teams are going to battle to try to qualify for the postseason tournament. And you're going to see that this next weekend.
Well, Air Force holding on to 3-goal lead as we approach the 5-minute mark remaining in this one.
I like what the Falcons have done here, dropping Bella Colandrea and dropping Aaron Spear, making sure they have numbers in the back. They did a nice job coming out with that 3-back system to match New Mexico, but once that second goal came, Colandrea dropped now. She's so versatile. We talked about how she can play all over the field, now sliding in as a center back to help support the defense. Alex Giggy and Kayla Milford on the outside, along with Casey Stavik. It's, that versatility of a player like Bella Colandrea that can play on all 3 levels for this Falcon group. It's nice to have that.
Well, Air Force now on the defensive end. The free kick here by New Mexico. They have got to go under 5 minutes to go to try to even have a chance at evening this thing up. Milford thrown up. Nelson there. Gets by Emma. Played off the right foot of the Lobos, trying to knife it through to Jaden Edwards.
And Emma Nelson just looks exhausted on the outside. She's done such a good job today, but playing through these elements is so tough.
Now, Air Force, they have been outstanding today. And here they go. Faith Lee. Lee's got so much speed, she'll turn it on in the New Mexico end. Here's Faith Lee, court of the 18, working one-on-one. Lee near the end line. She'll cross it over. Lee into the box. Lee left-footed shot. And just wide of the post near side.
And I was wondering with where we were in the game if Faith Lee would take that opportunity for herself, does a great job of just cutting all the way across the field. Right here, I was wondering if she would go to the corner, face the corner, gets a nice little move inside there, getting that better scoring angle, tries to go left foot on the near post. But faithfully, you see that long carry into the wind, a 70-yard dribble into the wind. Talked about how, Emma Nelson looks just spent on the outside. Faithfully's no different. It's so hard to play on the outside in the elements. These players have done a heck of a job this afternoon.
To your point, this feels like probably about 2 games for these teams today. They have been cutting through this wind the entire afternoon, giving everything they have. And right now, the look of exhaustion on both these sides. What a well-played game, but it's been Air Force with the upper hand, and they are less than 3.5 minutes away from walking out of here with their 4th victory in Mountain West Conference play, which would be a huge accomplishment for this Air Force team with 3 games to go. On the back end, this is Giggy, throws it right back of the New Mexico end.
Well, and that's exactly what you want to do defensively now with the lead in these elements is, collect the ball, make sure you stay behind the ball there. Alex Giggy doing a great job of not allowing the bounce to get away from her. Does a nice job throwing it up, trying to hit it into the corner. The ball doesn't quite move like she thought it was going to in the wind, but that's exactly what you want to do here. Just keep the ball in front of you for the Falcons and make sure that nothing gets behind you and just play keep away here in the last 4 minutes of this match.
So, New Mexico now. Desperation here, the Lobos. And not out of it yet, but boy, they got to get some goals in a hurry.
Well, and that's exactly what I was talking about, getting your body behind the ball there. Alex Giggy had the ball play off her hand, and not that she did anything wrong, just with the wind and the ball skipping into the wind. It's so hard to make sure that you're getting that sure defensive clearance.
So set up the free kick. Sent in. Hangs, top of the 18, headed right back out by the Falcons. Here's Jillian Jamero, plays it back to Faith Lee. Lee pressured from behind, and that's just great effort on the part of Maddie Hirschman of New Mexico. And sent back to Colandrea, goes out, but well, the clock's our enemy right now. If you're New Mexico, we're inside of 2 minutes to go, a 3-goal deficit. Not impossible, but close to.
Well, and the Falcons are doing a good job. You can just see the number of blue jerseys that are back. They're just not allowing anything to get behind them.
That's just great play by Emma Nelson. Back to the freshman Milford. Little 1-2 here. Why not? A keep-away game. That clock just ticks away. Milford played up. And Bezdek working one-on-one up top. And Bezdek able to win that ball.
Well, and that's exactly, you're right, that possession game. Just knock it around. You know New Mexico is going to chase you. Look for that ball up top. And then Bezdek does a good job of not losing the possession, just hanging on to the ball, allowing the moments, allowing the game just to kind of, come to the Falcons. They don't have to press anything right now.
Less than a minute to go. Air Force on their way to a big, big victory at home this afternoon against the Lobos. Boy, what a gut check. This team, you talk about bounce back. They could have been demoralized after that victory against, or the loss against San Diego State. They blew a 3-1 lead, lost 5-4, but here they are against a 5-2 New Mexico team, and they have taken it to the Lobos this afternoon.
Well, you're right. You're talking about the character of a team, and to know that you played well, and frustrated by the result, and not to hang your head, to come out and get the result, and quite honestly, a result that you had to have. Getting these home games and getting these wins is just crucial in this league, and that urgency was there this afternoon for the Falcons. That intensity was there, and it shows on the scoreboard.
Our PA announcer, Jeffrey Orman, counting down the final seconds here at Cadet Soccer Stadium to a Falcon victory. They shut out the Lobos here this afternoon. Your final score, Air Force 3, New Mexico nothing. We'll take a timeout back here with a post-game show after this. You're watching Air Force Women's Soccer on the Mountain West Network on Stadium. A victorious third verse of the Air Force song being played here at Cadet Soccer Stadium at the United States Air Force Academy as the Falcons have just shut out New Mexico. An impressive performance, 3-0 here on a cold, windy Sunday afternoon. Josh Howe, Andy Little Bounce back, well, the definition playing out right here in Colorado Springs. What a rebound for Friday night here for the Falcons.
Well, I think the bounce back defensively for this Falcon group. They did a great job in their organization, did a great job with their communication, and get the shutout is really, really big for this group.
Well, as we take a look at all the action in this one, there were plenty of highlights, and we start in the opening half.
Emma Nelson always looking for a goal, does a good job here with this touch to get to her left foot, drives this ball to the back post, pinging it off the post, but there she is. Lexi Romero, a great job, and I can't stress this enough, heading the ball low and wide to score the first goal.
That set the freshman record for goals scored in a season at 12. Lexi, not done yet. How about the second half?
A good driven in ball by Alex Gigan. There you see Lexi Romero on the end of it, having the toe poke past the keeper.
Set the single season record with 13 goals in a season for Romero, and she can score, and oh yeah, she can assist.
New Mexico stretching themselves defensively, trying to get the comeback goal, and you see Emma Nelson on the backside with a nice job of opening up and finishing that shot.
The Falcons shut out the Lobos, and Air Force goes now on the season. The Mountain West Conference played a 4-4. New Mexico drops to 5-3. We heard earlier CSU losing to Boise State. This race is getting tight heading down the stretch.
It is going to be a fight to the finish, and it absolutely should be. And everybody's aware of how tight this conference is. And just, for the Falcons now going on the road, just find a way to get a result this next weekend.
For my partner, Andy Little, our entire crew, great job by the guys on the camera out in the elements today. Behind the controls, this is Josh Howe saying so long from the Air Force Academy. The Falcons blank the Lobos here in Colorado Springs.